Skit. Skit, 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 skit. Skeet, 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 motherfucker.
Oh, skeet, skeet, Care Bears.
What do you call a bear with no teeth?
See, I'm not good at this because I have to think of a funny thing that's not gummy bear.
Gummy bear. The Care Bears team up with a troubled brother and sister who just moved to a new town to help a neglected young sorcerer's apprentice whose evil magic book causes sinister things to happen.
The Kingdom of Caring is fucked.
Alright guys, here we're going to talk about Care Bears the movie.
Camelot is a place we all can go.
1985's Care Bears the movie, Lee. I'm pretty sure you've seen this one.
Of course. Care Bears was a thing when I was a kid. I don't know how, but I watched me some Care Bears.
This was a big toy line. Did you have any memories going into a rewatch of this movie?
I did.
What? Yes. So like you knew exactly what was going to be breaking down here?
I never remembered the whole plots. Like a lot of these old ones from like my childhood, I just remembered certain little things. So going back is always interesting now to like put it all together into how the whole movie really played out. But yeah, I had certain very distinct memories. I was like, oh, it's the thing. Oh my God. Yeah.
I didn't remember any of the singing. I seem to delete the singing ideas from all movies that I watched as a kid.
That's a good point, yeah. Is like, I did not think of there being any songs in this, and there's like immediately a song that's horrible, and I'm like, what is happening? This always happens. Because again, my young brain would filter out the parts that I didn't like, and just keep like the best nuggets of like awesomeness.
I guess that's how all memories work.
Yeah, but like to have
you only
no
remember
idea.
traumatic and great.
Yes, but like the songs are in there for kids.
Sure.
So it's weird that having watched it when I was I guess like 3 or 4 or something, like I don't remember there being any songs. Like if I was walking around singing them, like they're just gone. That's a little weird. Yeah.
I think like every Care Bear memory blended together, and I couldn't have pulled this out of anything else.
Yeah.
But no, it's an interesting movie for sure. It definitely is worth talking about.
I have a lot to say about this movie. Not now, but in spoilers, because it has to be spoilers. But this is part of a grand tradition of like children's movies that are like dark and go to weird places for no reason and stuff.
Yeah, definitely weird places.
As a throwback, I'm like, yes, I was a cool kid. Yes. It's good that I like this.
Yeah, I'd recommend people check this out. So if you've seen it or don't care, false over to spoilers. And if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, so here are for the spoilers of Care Bears, the movie.
Care Bears the movie. I was all ready to say, oh man, you'd watch a show and then they'd make a movie and it would step it up and it would be darker and have better animation and be crazy and all that stuff.
The spell is cast. Now everyone in town will know the loneliness they've made me feel.
This was the introduction of Care Bears.
They were just toys before this.
Every day can be a Care Bear day.
Each sold separately.
Well, there were some Canadian like television specials like right before this, but this was definitely my. Well, I don't know if I watched them in order, so I think I may have had the same experience that I had with everything else, where there was a TV show on TV, and then later we like rented the movie.
I'm positive that was my experience, because you would have naturally seen the thing that was just piped into your house, and then have to go seeking out the other thing when you went to the video store. But yeah, this thing came out of the gates fucking swinging. This was a cheap ass movie to make. They did it for like a couple $1 million, and it just cleaned house. They made 20 something, 30.
They made 34 on 2. They said. And like if you like on the Wikipedia page at least, they say that this signaled to Hollywood interest in animated features and changed everything. And I'm like, damn, because to me I was just like, this is a messed up movie with a scary book lady.
Whoa!
People love them Care Bears. This was really a shot, because Disney just after this comes out with the Black Cauldron, which flopped in comparison and cost way more than this to make.
Right.
So you're like, yeah, bitch, look what we did. Canada, represent.
With $3, yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
No, like, and I'm a big fan of the old school animation. I think it has something that just like it brings to the table that is different. Just inherently being drawn looks cooler, has a nostalgia about it that even if you're not familiar with something, if it's done in this style, you're like, oh, what is this? Oh, it commands a little bit of respect.
Well, and like TV shows of the day, not to get too technical, but they might be like 6 FPS with like the mouths are barely moving correctly, right? And this dips into that. But a lot of it is like better. So that's what I mean. Like the movies would step it up and you'd be like, oh, it's like a thing or whatever. So like like 20 minutes in, you don't have that weird out of like, this is gross old stuff. It feels like, to me at least, maybe it's nostalgia, it feels good. But yeah, like if you were to go back and say, all these old men keep talking about hand-drawn 2D animation, like, yeah, watch a movie, not an episode of a show.
Oh, for sure.
Go into it like this. Yeah.
There are some weird things that were like, there are a lot of songs in the movie, and some of those songs, I'm like, are they supposed to be singing this song? Because mouths are not moving.
Feelings, Caroline, and Earth aren't far apart.
Oh God.
So I'm not sure, and if the music is added after the fact, and this is just like if we posit this being a world where this is happening, I'm like, are they just having a choreographed dance number to nothing? I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, there's a certain kid thing. Where
of course,
there's songs in a movie, but yes, sometimes they are meant to be part of the movie, and sometimes they are not. And in this movie, yes, you have sequences where characters sing lines to back and forth.
Feelings free. Sure could use someone to talk to me.
But then later, that's kind of happening again, but no one's moving their mouths or like singing, but they're like walking and, hey, we're fixing the thing.
And I wonder if that's in part, cause I read something about certain music, like planning to be in the movie, but then not being in the movie, and released years later with like still the art from the movie.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay, did they just like weren't sure what the song was gonna be, but they're like, we know it's this many beats per minute, like just have them dance.
Gonna go, so follow me and let me take you where.
We'll add the song in, it'll be fine.
Yeah, so, some of the stuff that goes along with the songs, I guess, to sum this up, it feels montagey and like stuff that maybe should have been the actual movie.
Yeah.
And the movie's around 75 minutes. It's like shorter and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure what they had to like cobble together and just make it happen, right?
Yeah. The movie itself, it's kind of fun. It's weird. Yeah. It's like an 80s movie where shit just like happens, and you're like, okay, because we start in one direction and we end in a completely different one. Where you're like, okay, these Care Bears who are I'm like, I was always unclear exactly where Care Bears are, and especially like in some of these shots, because it pans up from Earth and they're just like in the clouds. You can, but then at one point when like they're using like the Bifrost or whatever thing that transports them to Earth, they're like, oh no, they were lost somewhere between here and Earth, and I'm like, that's the sky.
I am so glad you mentioned the Bifrost, because it is like that. And I was getting ready to like defend the movie of like, how does this rainbow bridge work? And I'm like, it's that, it's literally that. They have to repair the Stargate, which is made of like shit, Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The lithium crystals.
I love it. Yeah.
Up.
No, but like that, especially as a kid for me, used to be like, oh my God, they have a cloud city with like weird technology, and even their belly magic doesn't work consistently or in special ways.
But I had a lot of questions about belly magic.
That's so good to me, because this would have gotten my young brain thinking like, oh, this is so cool. It's so weird and different and interesting.
So forgive me for not knowing any of their names.
But you hate it. Yeah.
But like Heart Stomach Bear, like uses his at one point. He like shoots it out and like gets them out of a cage because it expands. I'm like dope. Okay, cool.
Yes.
But then later, like he uses that to like bestow the powers across the rest of the ones that don't have the belly charms. And I'm like, can they just gift that power to people?
Okay,
that seems interesting and OP.
So this is what's weird too, is this feels like fan service. Like, oh, it's the characters you know and love it, and like so like this feels like Care Bears has already been on the air for years. Now they're introducing the Care Bear cousins.
Those were the second wave of the toys, I want to say. Yeah.
But all that stuff had already happened. So like this movie is not necessarily their introduction to you or like to like
it's still a gigantic commercial. Like the whole movie is a commercial.
But like what I'm saying is like they introduce characters that have big conspicuous blank bellies, and then by the end they too have been given this power. They have been made Highlanders or something like that.
I would have liked to have seen all the powers do like their power thing.
Yes.
Because like Lucky Bear makes a little lucky thing, and all of a sudden shit, he's lucky.
Maybe your luck's run out, but not mine.
He's like Long Shot or Domino or something. Like he just has this power, and I'm like, that's cool. But then like Star Stomach guy like wills a being into existence that is alive. That we see those exact creatures in where are they from again? Like Care Town or something. I don't know. I forgot what their town is called. It's like
Carolot, which is like Camelot, which I love too. Okay.
But like he makes a sentient star, and I'm like, oh wait, are all the stars those things? Like, what are these stars? Because it is daytime, and there's these stars around, and you think in a children's show, it's like stars and rainbows. Okay, I understand. This is a kid's concept, but usually in a kid thing, they're like, oh, stars only come out at night, like not thinking the abstract concept of what stars are to a child. But he makes this star who takes a rope who saves them, and I'm like, wait a minute, that thing's alive. Where did it go after it did did that? Does it disappear? Like, Mr. Stark, and it just disappears.
It's a little star-shaped dude.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. And like, so like there's a Care Bears movie too, which I think that I watched more.
Like the Next Generation or something?
Yeah, which is even darker and even wilder and even crazier. And there are little stars and like heart dudes that break them out of prison at one point. I'm not going to get into the crazy.
We might revisit that one. Let's not spoil it for the fans.
All these movies are crazy though.
To help their friends.
Good work. Oh no, Little Star Buddy can't unlock all these doors.
But yes, the powers are just these weird abstract, and like I think I still like that as an adult because it gives you vibes of like we don't understand how this works, and they're not explaining it. Much like and like if they did explain it, it would be like Thor saying, "Well, science is like magic to you, dummy." Yeah. It would be like that, where like this is they have cars. They have
that are made of clouds.
They have cloud mobiles and like cloud rollers or
that
riders.
had to get repaired.
Yes.
When he starts off, and I have to imagine it's like an animator's joke because it looks like he's like getting roadhead. Like the one guy is under the hood, bent over, and the other guy's like, but like he's repairing a car that will just disintegrate upon taking him to where he has to go. So what has to get fixed? The kid logic in the movie is fantastic where the guy's like, I need a piece shaped like this. Here, take a lollipop.
I need a piece that looks like this.
Try that.
And you're like,
yes.
Oh, it only has to be a piece shaped like that. It doesn't actually have to do anything.
He has socket wrenches at one point where, again, it's like the Lucky Charms. One is a star and one is like a shamrock, and they're doing their stupid things. I think as a kid, this stuff, like, I loved it so much. These little, because, like, don't explain it. Don't be like, oh, his midichlorians are letting him do this. Just be like, it's a machine. You hit the buttons and then the whatever. Like, also, Care-a-Lot gets messed up here.
Oh, yes, dramatically.
Which, again, like,
the Richter scale gets kicked.
Yeah, like, had you been watching a show, this would be that moment where, spoilers, like when Optimus Prime dies, or like when Cobra, destroys, the G.I. Joes, and then we end up in some twisted, mutant world or whatever, right? Like shaking everything up for the audience of the show to introduce we're gonna switch it up. And here, Care-a-Lot's crumbling.
Yeah.
It's like broken and breaking.
Oh no! Everything's broken.
And yeah, the big care meter indicates that
the care meter is fucking so flawed because it drops a whole 3 ticks, and the kid is only fucking with the town he's in. Presumably, they care for the whole Earth. And I'm like, it can swing you so wildly when a guy fucks with that Earth, like one town. Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
Possibly other dimensions besides Midgard, right? Possibly other places. We don't know.
That kid flips so hard too. Where he's like, I just want a friend.
You could use magic to get people to like me? No, but you could.
I'll kill them all.
Yes.
There's no turning back.
So like the kid Nicholas is a magician's apprentice, and they his boss buys an old trunk. It has an old book in it. The book is amazing. The book is so spooky and crazy. There's a sexy bald lady in the book.
What should I do?
You must finish it.
Who like seduces him, but for power. His face changes and like twists, but not like he's becoming a demon, just like he's an angry kid.
And tired. It's cranky.
But it's so effective. He looks so twisted by the end. He's making these crazy faces and saying stuff like, they all must pay, and all these crazy things where he's like reading the spells, and he's gonna make everyone's
spells which are not English at all.
Yes, but he can read them.
He can read them
he's
perfectly.
Very talented.
And they're just like common words almost that could be accidentally said.
Ishkabibble, something. Yeah.
Read.
Ishkabibble.
Hey, Nicholas!
Very weird. When he first, a key opens the book, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Undo the lock.
When you first see the key has no teeth on it at all.
Right, it's a magic key.
I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then later it has teeth, and I'm like, okay. Even our fucking secret bear's like, fuck it, I can make a key. And shoots a key out of his lock. I'm like, a power you don't think of for Secret Bear. He's that guy from The Matrix.
So, well, I'm glad you liked it, because again, while I watch these movies now, I'm in this torture prison where I just have to think about how you're going to react to them and like head them off or something. So they make a big deal. Oh, you know, Jack, whatever, save this key.
Hold on to this for me, Jason.
That's so dumb, though.
Without this key, it's all lost, and we can't win. Then the key gets destroyed, and one of the cameras is like, here's a key, and they just use that key instead, and it works. It's amazing.
Just giving the kid you just met anyway, like, hey, you pawn in the game, have the most valuable piece.
Yes.
When I am like a super-powered bear who shoots out hearts, maybe I'll hold on to it.
Yeah, this is like Daredevil being like, Foggy, hold this for me.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, no, he can't do anything.
No.
This
if anything,
happens.
it puts him in danger. He's supposed to be protecting people. Very stupid. I had one moment where it was like, yeah! When like they're doing their Care Bear stare.
Stare!
I never understood why it's called a Care Bear stare, because it doesn't come out of like their eyes or anything.
Okay, so I thought you would hate this too, because they literally close their eyes and present their bellies, and that's how it happens. But there's no other thing to call it, maybe, and like Care
I would
Bear
call it
stare.
the Care Bear share.
Well,
because we're all sharing our powers.
I guess that's weird, but yes.
It's no weirder than stare.
I don't know.
I do.
Staring involves like focusing and doing something, but yes, that would have also captured the alliteration, which I think is like the real reason.
Yeah.
They were just in the room, like, what do we call this? I don't know.
Exactly.
Care Bear,
but like they're trying. There's only two of them. They can't fight off this bird.
The two of us aren't enough.
And then like out of the the corner, our boys swoop in. Fa-ting! And they all just stare him away.
And it's like, on your left, and they come in and they save the day. Yes. No, like, and the animation is good for this too, I think, because different colors and different things come out, and they kind of like cross the streams, and they all join into this big like rainbow, and how it's like attacking the bird with this weird like distance away from it, like encapsulating it, and then it kind of like, I love old animation, I'm sorry to geek out like this, but the way it kind of like snuffs it out, and it's like weird, like you're mixing water, and that color is being like diluted. It had a really cool look when they like defeat him and stuff.
No
I like
complaints
that shit.
upon the look.
Yeah.
In general, it has a lot of fun concept there. Like so, like the bird is just this like smoke monstery thing sent through it. It's a fish at another point in time. It has some cool things here.
This too, real quick. Every time it like possesses something or like takes a new form, the color scheme, but also the eyes stay the same.
Yes.
Which is a really cool.
Because kids are dumb and they need to know.
Need to have that
what's in the
indication.
head.
But I like that consistency. And the tree is amazing when he's like taking things over.
The tree is
and
very
stuff.
interesting.
Yes. And how they defeat it by getting it to tangle itself up with its like tree tentacles.
Because the tree didn't seem like that was even like sent by the witch to me. It just seemed like that just lives there. That's an evil fucking tree.
Well, he like possesses the tree.
Oh, I must have just blinked and missed that part.
That's the most unfriendly tree I've ever seen.
So I was like, in this feelings village, there's fucking evil trees, like it's fucking Wizard of Oz.
So there's a scene at the end, once the tree is tangled up, and he's like, oh no, and they're like getting away. The like cloud leaves the tree, and it kind of like fades back into its old. I know.
I apologize.
But that's awesome. Those things are awesome. Yes.
Yeah, that tree was pretty fierce. That was that was the most aggressive of the forms it took. Then.
Yeah, and that was probably the coolest looking one. The birds are right, but like the tree was like
Birds had flight on its sides. That had an advantage.
Yeah, yes. We'll put on our tier list for all the different villains.
Yeah.
George!
I think my favorite like part of the movie, or like as an adult watching, I think was just like really funny to me, was the kids get approached by a Care Bear for the first time, and there's like, what do you want?
I'm Friend Bear, and this is Secret Bear. We're Care Bears.
What do you want?
And like, it's
Screw you, you're sending a teddy bear.
It's a tiny bear that is speaking English to them, and they're like so over it. What do you want?
They saw them crash their Cloudmobile into a thing, and they're just like, ugh, this again.
It's so crazy. Like they're teleported through parts of like the universe, presumably, and like no one's even phased. And then like the first interaction of the other bear, Heart Bear, when he's meeting the sorcerer's apprentice, which I'm like, is he a slave? Because like it didn't seem like he is employed there.
No.
And like apprentice is only like really thrown out, I think, like on the box. I don't think he says like in the movie anywhere, "You're my apprentice." Yeah, it seems like Lackey, I bought a box. Where's my stuff? You're breaking it.
Right. It's like he's like an orphan that was adopted by a magician. That's what it seems. Highly suspicious.
That's what it seems.
They become partners at the end, but that's even more suspicious.
Wildly suspicious.
So what do you say, huh? A partnership.
A
The idea that he then shares the spotlight with a kid and then even says, okay, Nicholas and Fettuccine.
Oh, all right. Nicholas and fettuccine.
I'm like, at no point before this have we had anything showing that the kid could do magic in front of Fettuccine anyway. No ability to perform, no anything. So the idea that it ends on that happy note is so like just children's book.
Yeah, it's very tacked on because it's not a story of him like you had the magic, you didn't need the book, you were already a powerful wizard.
Yeah,
right?
no, there's nothing like that
just a thing.
involved.
Yeah.
I think the best part of the movie, as far as like, ooh, is the fact that like it opens with a storyteller telling his like room full of orphans a story, and like he puts on the book hat, and like it's this great like foreshadowing because that is the hat he wears as a performer. Yes. And when he's like, and that boy was me, and I'm like, oh shit, got him.
We two lived happily ever after, happier than I ever thought I could be.
Like, see, that's great.
This is one that I was like, of course, geez, whatever.
No, I was like trying, and I was staring at the wife. I'm like, is that the girl? And I'm looking for any proof for my theory that he married the one that he's now friends with.
Yes.
But it doesn't anywhere. He doesn't say her name. Her name's not written anywhere. But they don't even have him in the voice listed as like because obviously it's different voice actors. So I'm like, there's no way of knowing.
Right, and
I Googled. I'm like, does anyone else have this theory? And I couldn't find it.
You Googled your theory. That's amazing. Yes.
Well, so I'm like, sometimes you have a theory and it's like, obviously that's actually what it is. But no one seemed to have the same thing. But I'm like, I'd like to believe he married that girl.
And a fine story that was, Mr. Cherrywood.
My favorite, Mrs. Cherrywood.
Because she was an orphan, and that made him want to have an orphanage with her because it was her dream to make kids happier.
My favorite part of that ending is that the story ends with the kids saying, aren't parents great?
Hey, Jason, aren't parents great? Yeah.
And he's telling this to a bunch of orphans.
Yeah.
But then, luckily, he's like, they never stay awake to hear the ending. I'm like, it's good. It's a good thing, too, because the ending is like, oh, isn't it nice to have parents?
Well, that's such a bullshit thing, because it is a VHS tape you would have watched as a kid, and you'd be like, yeah, parents are great.
Yes. Well, it's
also
also
fucking indoctrinating bullshit.
It's also funny enough for the audience, but then to have it cut back to the orphanage where he's telling the story to orphans, I was like,
with like a huge room where all their beds are in a circle.
As you do.
Did the baby talk? Like, it seemed like the baby said something in like a full sentence earlier.
Story, Mr. Cherrywood? Story? Please, the one about the circus.
And then like the next time it talks, it's like,
Story hat, story hat.
I'm like, wait a minute, the fuck was that?
Yeah, someone's in like a crib being like, story, please. Yes.
Please, sir, I want some more story.
I want some more.
Phew, that was close. You almost smashed right into a big rock.
There's a part where the bear, like one of the bears, I forget, just comes back to the little boy and girl and goes, I forgot! I found you parents!
Oh my gosh, I forgot. I've sighted parents for you at the orphanage. They want to adopt you both!
Congratulations, Kim and Jason!
And like, there was no lead into it at all. They weren't talking about parents or on the hunt. And like, I think they alluded to the fact that they were orphans before this, but it really wasn't a selling feature. And we found your parents.
I think it was even crazier because she's like looking through the spyglass, being like, I saw that they have parents for you now. Yeah, take it back.
Looking for this?
Oh, sorry, Grumpy Bear, but I'm in a hurry. I've got great news for Kim and Jason.
Some crazy thing?
Oh,
yes.
So goofy. Love it. Forgot to tell you. We found your parents.
There's a few moments like that where when they introduce the elephant, I think, and this is meant to be that way, but it's this big cacophonous, like the roar and the thing.
Yeah, you
and
think
it comes
it's
out,
gigantic.
and then the slow dude comes out and goes, hello. Just has a weird, like hello. There's some weird entrance.
Hello.
Or whatever. There's a few, funny anticlimactic things.
Yeah, they said the biggest, strongest member of the animal kingdom, and the lion's like, I'm right here, bro.
Yeah, come on. What am I doing here?
And they all seem to know each other, which is interesting.
Yeah. These are like the named characters. Like, this is a cool thing that I'd forgotten is like the Stargate's broken, the Bifrost has cracked, so they have to like take the long way, and they have a boat.
The Cloudquakes had broken the Rainbow Rescue Beam, but the Care Bears would never give up. That's what made them think of the river.
And they sail down this river where they admit, we have no idea where this goes. It's like, what? And then they end up in the jungle, and then sailing further down river, they end up in the theme park where everything's happening, where the magician was staying and all that stuff. They come out of the tunnel of love. So it's like a Hogwarts weird, like.
We've got to stop it before it gets worse.
I don't think this place could get any worse.
They even have a boat if they've never gone on the river. It's very strange.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
And the sail is one of those star creatures. It is like, sentient as well. Like a lot of that stuff it's kind of creepy when you think about it more. Where like these living beings are being just like, no, we need a boat, star boy, like shove them in there.
And there's so much incidental stuff, like the little bridge, connecting the boat to like the land is,
a rainbow.
Is a rainbow. But they don't explain like, oh, this is a part of our care projection powers. We create matter or something. They don't go into any of that stuff, which I dig. I dig this vibe that everything's sort of happening. The big stare, second stare at the end against Nicholas, I thought is cool too, because the like Care Bear friends, the non-bear Care Bears can't help, so they just scream.
That's it! Everybody call!
Which seems to help anyway. But our main Care Bears to like give you more nuggets, right? As like a kid, they've been doing this to like try to like make them care. And then once they stop for a bit, some of them are like passing out. They're like fanning themselves.
Fully expended.
Like it takes a lot out of them to like do this.
For sure.
So even though it's like multi-purpose, where you can make a balloon or you can make a key or you can shoot a proton beam into someone, like it's like draining them or something.
There's only so much pee in the tank.
There's only so much until they have to, I guess, recharge or something. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, eat or drink.
It's tight. It's good.
And then it ultimately gets solved with like, we'll be your friend.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much
so
good.
Okay. That's like Care Bears and like the power of caring. Like this is cringe now. It was cringe then. So like that's always the most cringiest, worst thing at all. However, I think the concept is kind of beautiful in like this way, where you can like you can change someone by caring about them, and by you and other people can join in and all care about them in like a focused way.
It's very true.
And you can change them for the better.
We were wrong. Now we want to be your friends, Nicholas, and make sure you're never alone again.
You can help them by doing that.
There's a great little 4-panel bullshit comic where it says like there's like a superhero flying by and a kid goes like, oh man, I want to have superpowers. And the dad's like, we do have superpowers. And he goes, see that guy in the ugly hat? And he's like, that's a cool hat, and you're a cool guy for wearing it. And then the next time that guy smiling, he goes, see, we did that.
See?
And I'm like, little things like that. But exactly, befriending a person before they become a terrorist.
Hey.
Could stop terrorism.
You never know.
Only you can prevent terrorism.
No, and I think that's an idea while you're young to like passively drill into you. Because as a kid who didn't like the like girl cartoons or like the pink cartoons or whatever as much, I still saw enough Care Bears because it was cool. Like, oh, they're like fighting with their stomachs. It's awesome or whatever.
Care Bears, stare!
But this little idea of like basic human empathy may have wormed its way into my brain and helped me, which I'm always looking at kids stuff like, do I give it the seal of approval for kids? And I think I do.
Yeah, got this and Mati teaching me about heart.
Heart. One of the top 5 powerful elements on Earth.
As long as Kim and Jason still care, his spell's not complete.
We can still save him.
Shit's dope.
Do you think it's dope?
No.
How do you really feel?
I liked it, but I definitely enjoyed the movie. I think it's definitely something you could rewatch to be like, what was that even? Because I remember liking this as a kid. Let me know if I even hold this thing. And I think it's still a decent thing. It's a fun concept. It's definitely outlandish, which is something I lend myself to in general liking. Could I watch this again? Like, probably have no reason to. Maybe like in like you could watch, be like, oh, little kids are coming over. Let me throw this on because it's not unbearable, and I think they could enjoy it. But I don't think it's something I'd be like, oh no, man, like in like 5 years, I'd be like, dude, I really gotta check out that Care Bears thing again. I think it's like a one and done. Let me get that nostalgia back, get the memory up. If someone asked me a question, I could answer it now. But no, it's not like a sit back, relax on a Saturday. You're smoking a blunt, and watching Care Bears. Maybe you are. Maybe you are.
No, yeah, I don't, I would not put it on like that tier where you should go watch Transformers the movie, over and over again. But like this one, yeah, for like the history, the nostalgia, the archaeology of your own childhood, it's very interesting. And it has little nuggets to pick up and like recover. But then, yes, you can just throw the rest away.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Look, I'm hydroplaning.